Hello, my name is Weiss Cowie, and I'm a PhD student at the University of Cambridge who will be talking about some pilot data I've been collecting recently. The title of our project is Flexible Speech Perception in Response to Multiple Learning Objectives, and our goal is to look at the extent to which listeners can strike a balance between two critical processes in the perception of non-canonical speech, namely perceptual learning and word learning. As listeners, it's important that we strike a balance between these processes because an over-reliance on either of them can lead to issues. For instance, focusing too much on word learning and not enough on perceptual learning can cause poor accent adaptation. So, for instance, someone unfamiliar with an American accent might hear someone pronounce the word water and think it is a new word rather than their pronunciation of the drink water, or H2O. So, to see how listeners are able to engage in perceptual learning and word learning at the same time, we designed an experiment with a training phase where listeners read sentence stems that are highly predictive of a final word, and then have listeners listen to either that highly predicted word or a pseudo word. Critically, these spoken items are either said canonically or in an artificial accent. In this way, listeners are able to learn the rules of one speaker's accent, and at the same time are able to infer the meanings of pseudo words given sentence context. Listeners rate each of the spoken items as reasonable or not, given the preceding sentence context. And the results suggest that over the course of accent exposure, listeners find accented words more reasonable over time, suggesting an adaptation effect. Notably, this is present in a group trained on a higher number of unique accented items, or types, but not for a group that is trained on fewer unique items, but more presentations, or tokens. After the training phase, listeners complete a test phase where they once again hear all of the old items from before, as well as a matching number of new spoken items. And these items may be with a consistent speaker and accent from before, or with a different speaker and accent. So, for instance, if listeners heard the word class at the start from speaker A, they may hear class again, or they may hear the accented form, notably an unfamiliar accented form, claff. Or the accented item spood may once again be spood, or a canonical form, spoot. Listeners then complete word report, item memory, and meaning inference tasks for all of these items. The results suggest that listeners have engaged in word learning, with memory being above chance for pseudo-words in all categories. And there's also evidence of accent adaptation, or perceptual learning, as listeners will more readily correct for an accent if it is one they are trained on, here with the red bars, than in the blue bars, which is an untrained accent. So if listeners hear the accented item claff, they will type out the unaccented form class, but more commonly, only if they've been trained on the accent. In conclusion, listeners are able to engage in both perceptual and word learning on the same set of trials, and there seems to be some impact of type and token frequency, with higher type frequency, or more unique items, helping with accent learning, and higher token frequency helping with item learning of words. Further behavioral work will look at the effect of sleep consolidation on these processes, and also validate the present results in a larger sample. Thank you.